approaching a man. What do men really feel and think when a woman pursues them? So first, let me get this out of the way. This is not about right or wrong. This is not about should she or shouldn't she pursue a man. This is strictly about a man's response to a woman's pursuit. Now first, there are some facts that apply across the board to almost every man. And then there's some more specific detail that applies to the certain type of man that you decide to pursue. First, let's deal with the general facts. It's a fact that a man's response to a woman's pursuit is highly influenced by the generation that he grew up in. A man that grew up in the 80s is going to respond differently to your pursuit if he grew up in the 90s. And a man that grew up in the 90s is going to respond differently to a woman's pursuit if he grew up in this new millennium. You see, times have changed. The rules of engagement have evolved. The roles between the genders have also changed. So the way that a man responds to a woman's pursuit has changed along with it. Another fact that even overrides the generation that man grew up in is the generation that he was influenced by. You see, a man could have grown up in this new millennium, but if he was influenced and conditioned and taught by men that grew up in the 80s and the 90s, he's going to respond to your pursuit with the rules of engagement of those men. This next fact is it kind of answers a question and is also a fact. A lot of women ask, do men like being pursued? And the answer is always yes. It's an ego stroke. Who doesn't like to feel liked? Who doesn't like to feel attractive? But you're asking the wrong question. The question isn't, does he like being pursued? The question is, does he like you? Because just because a man likes being pursued by you, that doesn't automatically mean that that's going to translate into him liking you. He can just enjoy his pursuit. He can enjoy your attention. And the fourth fact that goes across the board, a lot of people may not agree with it. A lot of people may be turned off by it. But that doesn't make it any less of a fact. When a woman pursues a man, something gets lost. I don't know if it's his interest. I don't know if it's that mystery, if it's that intrigue, or if it's the way he values her. But once those tables are turned, she becomes the pursuer, and he's the one being pursued, something will get lost in that interaction. And that's just the facts. Now let's get into the more specific things that deal with a certain type of man that you're going to pursue. You see, I broke it down into 4 categories because you're going to be pursuing either one of these 4 type of guys. One guy is the hunter. The other guy is the beta male. The next guy is an alpha male. Or he could be what I like to call the man in the mirror. So let's deal with the hunter first. And before I even get into the hunter, I want to dismiss a myth about the hunter and about men. All men are not natural born hunters. It's just not true. Being a hunter is a conditioned skill. It's something that we have to learn to discover how to do. We're not born that way, and every man is not born that way. So, for instance, let's look at the lion. Most people will say that a lion is probably the most fierce and skilled hunter in the world. But when a lion is born as a baby cub, is he a feared and skilled hunter? No, he's not. He has to observe the lion and the lioness. He has to watch and he has to wait and he has to practice how to become a hunter. And through trial and error, through failure, through rejection, through running and jumping and not capturing anything, he develops the skill of a hunter. And that same thing applies to when it comes to men. So as a man, what I would call a hunter in men, it's a guy that has learned how to approach women. a guy that has developed his skills in the rules of engagement. He doesn't fear introducing himself and starting a conversation. He sees what he wants and he goes after it. Now, I'll tell you a little bit story, and I might be incriminating myself, and I also might be aging myself. But when I was younger, me and my friends would get dressed, we'll get our haircuts, we'll put on our clean sneakers, and we'll go to the mall. And we'll play a little game. And the game was basically who can get the most numbers. So we'll team up, go 2 by 2, or we'll go as a group. And at the end of the day, whoever got the most numbers or whoever got the number from the prettiest girl was the winner. Now, that was our training ground. That's how we developed to be hunters. And I'll tell you the truth, every guy that was in the mall was not playing that game. Some guys went to the mall to go to the arcade. Some guys went to the movies, or some guys went shopping. And some of us developed our hunting skills at the mall. And that's the difference. You see, a hunter doesn't need a green light. He doesn't need a welcoming sign from a lady that he wants. He sees who he likes and he goes after it. And that's the difference between a hunter and a beta male. Now, to get into the nitty-gritty of the question that you asked, how would the hunter respond to your pursuit? You see, when a hunter wakes up in the morning, he already knows what he wants and who he wants. He has a picture of the type of lady that he's attracted to, and that's what he's going to go after. Now, another thing about a hunter, even though he has the picture of the type of lady he wants, he does not want to go home empty-handed. So if you're the type of lady that's going to pursue a hunter, there is a good chance that he might entertain your pursuit and he might keep you as a constellation prize until he finds his real prize. Another thing with a hunter, he's the one that's used to going after the woman. So if a woman pursues him, now the tables is turned. And it puts him in this uncomfortable space that he's not used to. Like, she's pursuing him, she's coming after him before he even has an opportunity to display his worth. And in a hunter's mind, anything that comes too easy is not good for him, or is not really worth it. So when you decide to pursue a hunter, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. But there are some good things about pursuing a hunter. If he likes you. If you pursue a hunter and he likes you, I can guarantee you would not have to do much hunting. You would not have to do any hunting at all. You just have to put yourself in position. Put yourself within his view, and he's going to take over the pursuit. He's going to go after you. He's going to pursue you. So that's the response. That's how a hunter thinks when he's pursued by a woman.